Yes, you can't keep a good man down, especially Rocky Balboa. He's up and at him again, fighting a Russian champion in Rocky IV, one of 4 new movies we'll be reviewing this week on After Movies, the movie review program. I'm Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times. In addition to Rocky IV, on this program we'll also be reviewing Fool for Love, starring Sam Shepard in his own screenplay about a family's darkest secrets. And the official story, a prize-winning film about a woman who suspects her adopted child may have been stolen from its mother. The first Gene starts with a new Steven Spielberg production, Young Sherlock Holmes.
Now, at the beginning of Young Sherlock Holmes, I was sure I was in for a treat. You want to see that beginning that I like so much? Okay, here's the scene where the new boy in a London private school meets a young genius named Holmes. It's a wonderful moment.
You're the new boy?
Yes, I'm transferred to another school. My name's...
Wait. Let me. Your name is James Watson. You're from the north of England. Your father is a doctor. You spend a considerable amount of leisure time writing, and you have a particular fondness for custard tarts. Am I correct?
My name isn't James, it's John.
Oh, James John, what's the difference?
A great deal.
Oh, very well. So your name is John. How did I do in the others?
You were correct. On every count. How's it done? Is it some sort of magic trick?
No magic, Watson. Pure and simple deduction.
Cute, right? But then the film heads downhill when it gives us an adventure involving a maniac with poison darts that make people hallucinate. Here's a victim. That hallucination will cost that man his life, but a mysterious hooded figure will give young Holmes and young Watson a clue to the crime.
Sir, you dropped this.
I might have known.
Mr. Lestrade, this is something to do with what we talked about.
These 2 school children away from here.
Now, I love the idea of a young Sherlock Holmes and a young Watson. I really do. Clever idea, particularly when it's done in England in the proper period without a concession to American taste, except for the film's many special effects, including that little gargoyle that came off the bookends, and then there's some lamps that turn into snakes and spin around, and there's flames and dungeons and all this other stuff. But this story also sags in the middle like no Holmes adventure I can recall. The classic ones used to pick up speed as they went along. This film stops like a house of fire, actually a room of fire. Then it moves at a snail's pace. I like young Holmes, played by Nicholas Rowe. I like young Watson, played by Alan Cox. I just wish they'd been given a better adventure. The film reaches its nadir for me when toward the end we get a pale imitation of a cave sequence from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Too bad. A great start, a weak finish.
I liked it a whole lot more than you did, and I thought that it was in 2 traditions. It was in the Steven Spielberg tradition, certainly, young heroes surrounded by special effects and amazing sights, and also within the Arthur Conan Doyle Sherlock Holmes tradition. He always
which one do you think he does better?
Oh, Spielberg is much better at doing Spielberg than he is at doing Arthur Conan Doyle, obviously.
Okay.
But nevertheless, the Sherlock Holmes movies do have all kinds of amazing props and so forth, collapsing rooms and strange inventors. So that isn't too contrived, and also the little blow dart with the...
That I like, the blow dart.
The poison that gives a hallucination. That's the sort of thing Sherlock Holmes would have been up against, too. So I thought the film was very creative and very inventive in trying to put together these 2 different movie traditions.
And my comment would be that it did better, just the opposite of you. I think it did better as a Holmes movie than it did as a Spielberg production. I'm frankly a little bit tired of all the Spielberg productions.
I don't know.
I love it. Kids may not be, but I'm tired of it, and I love that young Holmes thing.
They still have things that can amaze me. Industrial Light and Magic, the special effects people, came up in this movie with that stained glass window where the figure jumps off the window and walks down the aisle of a church, and you can see through it while it's moving along. Now, you admit that.
That's wonderful. I'm the reasonable one on this show. You never grant anything. I'm saying that there's one good special effect, the rest of the stuff.
There are lots of other good special effects, too. Next at the movie, Sam Shepard is a cowboy who comes back home to share some passionate secrets.
We ain't got anything, Eddie. We ain't got anything between us anymore.
Is that right?
That's right.
How come you're so excited?
I'm not excited!
Black & Decker's automatic shutoff.
Our next movie is named Fool for Love, and this is the screen version of the famous play by Sam Shepard about a man and a woman whose reunion after several years sets the stage for some terrible truths to be told and some family secrets to be revealed. This movie version stars Sam Shepard, who is as good an actor as he is a writer, and it's been directed by Robert Altman, who's found an absolutely perfect setting for it, a ramshackle motel somewhere in Texas, the outback of Texas, where in this scene, Shepard plays a man who's come back to look up a woman, a former lover, whose complete relationship to him is not yet known by the audience.
I missed you, you know. I did. Missed you more than anything I ever missed my whole life. Kept thinking about you the whole time I was driving. I kept seeing you. Sometimes just a part of you.
Yeah? Like which part?
Neck?
My neck.
Yeah.
Just my neck.
Yeah. Well, I missed all of you, but your neck kept coming up for some reason. I kept crying about your neck.
Were you crying?
Yeah.
Crying.
Yeah. That's Kim Basinger in a very effective baby doll type performance as the sultry motel cook. In this scene, Randy Quaid plays her current boyfriend.
Oh, no, it's all right. It's all right. So it's all right. We were just having an argument. It's okay. It's okay. It's just a little argument, that's all.
Oh, God. I heard you screaming when I drove up, and then all the lights went out. I thought someone was trying to...
Yes?
No.
Oh, no, baby.
I better turn my truck lights off. The battery run down.
Yeah, you better.
It sure looked like he was getting, you know...
No, I wasn't.
That's him.
Martin, this is my cousin. Ed.
I'm sorry.
She's lying.
You can get a sense there in those scenes of the rhythm of this movie. Lots of laconic dialogue in which the characters know what they really mean, but for a long time, we don't. We don't have the whole picture. The movie also stars Harry Dean Stanton as an old man who hangs around the hotel and who turns out to be the father of both the Shepard and the Basinger characters. So you see what that makes them. You see what I mean by family secrets. Fool for Love is a gloomy and moody movie filled with sudden emotional outbursts that remind us of early Brando performances. It's dry and it's bitter, and I like it.
It's a tough film. I saw the play, Roger, and actually I like the film a little bit better than the play. I think that on the play they had the father sitting off stage and we didn't know who he was. In the movie we see the father and we see flashbacks to the life that has created the situation that's taking place, and I think Robert Altman does that very well as a piece of direction. I also think, and one of the campaigns I've had over the years of arguing for movies over television, let's say, for example, is that movies can show us real wide emotional range. This film really pushes it. These people are really angry. They are really sexually involved. There's some real sickness involved, and then there's some passion. This asks us some very tough questions. It tests our relationships. This is not an easy movie to experience, but it's exciting because it's pushing so hard on so many fronts.
And it takes the time to really look at those performances and let those actors really come out and give us what they have inside. Kim Basinger has never been better in movies. She usually just plays some sex pot. Here we see she's a real actor.
I want to go, everyone's saying about Sam Shepard, and he gets the cover of some news magazine.
Yeah,
Kim Basinger is fabulous.
He is good in this movie. And as a Robert Altman picture, let's mention that for a second. Here's a man over 10 or 12 years was known as the ultimate movie director. Now, for 5 movies in a row, he has made film versions of plays. And really, I think he's at the top of his game with this movie, Secret Honor, the Richard Nixon film, Come Back to the Five and Dime. He's really doing a good job here.
Coming up next at the movies, his name is Rocky Balboa. His occupation? Boxer.
I see 3 of them out there.
I am telling.
As most everyone knows by now, in Rocky IV, Rocky Balboa, the working man's hero, fights a machine-like Russian champion named Ivan Drago. How tough is Drago? This tough.
Shall we have a demonstration? Please do. A normal heavyweight averages 700 pounds of pressure per square inch. Drago averages 1,850 pounds. But that's so the result quite obvious. And what results are those? Whatever he hits, he destroys.
But before Rocky fights Drago, Apollo Creed, the ex-champ, decides he wants to win back his self-respect by taking on Drago himself. We suspect it's a dumb move.
Can I ask you something? Well, you know, this fight you're having against the Russian, you think maybe they're aiming against him? If it's not him, Stallion, who's it against? But you think maybe it's like you against you? What do you think? No, I think you're really on your brain damage. That's what I think, Stallion. Well, maybe, but you're really, I'm speaking the truth here, pal. Are you? Yeah. I don't think I want to hear this, Stallion. Oh, come on. Hey, Paulo, look. You're a great fighter, no doubt about that. But look, we got to face the facts, too. You don't want to believe it, but maybe the show is over. And that's easy for you to say. You're still on top.
Of course, Drago beats Apollo. If Drago lost, think about it. He'd be back in Russia and the whole movie would be over. Instead, he creams Apollo, and early on in their fight, he's whipping Rocky.
What's happening out there? He's winning. I see three of them out there. Get the one in the middle. Right. Get the one in the middle. Yeah.
Take more than luck for Rocky to survive this round. Rocky's been hit with bombs.
Rocky Balboa trying to stay in the middle of the ring against the big Russian.
Now, this may surprise you, but I really like Rocky IV a lot.
That does surprise me. I'm amazed.
Well, then I'm going to be amazed at you. Let me explain why. Okay. I knew what was going to happen in this picture. I mean, everyone knows what's going to happen in this picture, yet I got caught up in both of its fights. I even got a little bit caught up. This is almost embarrassing to admit. In the 15th round of that fight, I thought somebody's going to play a trick on me. I got caught up in it. I enjoyed Rocky's brief moments with his wife and his son, which I had wanted in Rocky III and didn't get enough of. In fact, my only complaint is that there weren't enough of those scenes in this Rocky IV. The original Rocky worked because of its love story, I think, as well as its boxing. And Stallone, the writer and director, has de-emphasized the love angle throughout all of the series, and to their detriment. But what he does know how to do, and this is what makes this film work, is create a great, colorful villain. First, the brash Apollo Creed in #1. Then, Rocky II, my favorite, the villain was really Rocky himself, his overblown ego. Then in Rocky III, that mad dog, Clubber Lang, played by Mr. T. Now, even Drago, well played by the Adonis-like Dolph Lundgren. He's a great villain, and we sit back there and enjoy this film. It's a great hour and a half to eat popcorn by, and I want more. Because he can make another great villain. I want Rocky V.
I don't want Rocky V. Please don't give me Rocky V. I thought
you'd rather have Halloween 5.
I wouldn't rather have Halloween 5, and I don't want Friday the 13th 5. Okay. What I'm amazed about is that you wanted Rocky IV. This movie is the bottom of the barrel. At the beginning, the first half hour, every scene is obligatory. He has to check in with Adrian. He has to talk to his brother-in-law. Here's little Rocky Jr.
What would you have him do? Meet a whole bunch of new people?
Well, I think that would be interesting. Yes, as a matter of fact. He had a great idea in 1976 and made a great movie based on that idea about a real human being named Rocky Balboa and his touching love affair with this girl. Now Balboa has turned into this egotistical monster who takes over the entire movie. The other little people in his life have their run-ons. Then there's the fight at the 1/3 mark where somebody loses, and the fight at the 2/3 mark where Rocky wins. This movie is absolutely formula. It is predictable. It is uninspired, and it is not exciting. And even the fight at the end, which usually works for me, didn't work this time.
Roger, you've liked some of the others in the series too, so they've been formula.
As a matter of fact, I have.
And you knew exactly what's going to happen then.
That's right. Yes.
And I'm telling you that this time, this villain, we've complained about Clint Eastwood not coming up with great villains. We've complained with the James Bond series not coming up with great villains. It's a common flaw.
Let me ask you one question.
Tell me, is Ivan Drago a good villain or a bad villain?
Let me ask...
no, answer that one first.
He's a moderately interesting villain, but let me ask you an even better question.
Thank you.
How come he never has a single scene alone with his wife? The woman who does all of his speaking for him. How come she's such a big character and has 9 times more dialogue than he has?
Because he's supposed to be stolid and a tough Russian. He punched, she talked.
Maybe it's because she's played by Stallone's girlfriend.
I think she did a nice job.
Because I think if he'd been allowed to take over all of that dialogue and be more of a character, it would have been a lot better than him sitting there silently while Bridget Nielsen has all of the best lines.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Well, I do think so.
As I said, he punched, she talked. Coming up next in the movie, a mother fears that her adopted daughter may have been stolen when she was a baby.
Our next movie is a heartbreaking drama from Argentina, the story of a rich woman whose husband was involved in the political and commercial intrigues of the period when the army ruled the country a few years ago. Their marriage is comfortable, and it centers around her love for her adopted daughter. Then one day, the woman meets an old high school classmate who tells her of political prisoners who were tortured during that period and about how some of those prisoners were pregnant women whose babies were taken from them.
¿Qué había hecho Pedro? Pedro ya estaba jugado. Y a lo mejor ya estaba muerto cuando me preguntaban por él. Hiciste la denuncia. Buena idea. No se me había ocurrido. ¿A quién le hubieras hecho la denuncia? Si vos no habías hecho nada. ¿Cómo a quién? Ese lugar estaba lleno. A veces era difícil saber si era yo la que invitaba o los otros. Había mujeres embarazadas que perdían allí sus hijos y otras que se las llevaban, pero volvían solas, porque al chico se lo daban esas familias que los compran sin preguntarle a dónde vienen.
The woman begins to fear that her child may have been stolen from its natural mother. After all, her husband had the power and influence to get that done, so she confronts him.
Heifel se llamaba el médico, Heifel.
No me acuerdo, Alicia. ¿Cómo crees que me acuerde?
¿Cómo no te vas a acordar del médico que te dio a Gaby?
Dijimos que nunca íbamos a hablar de eso.
¿Le pagaste?
Alicia.
¿Al médico o a la madre?
¿Pero qué viene todo esto ahora?
The official story deals with powerful material, but it's all the more powerful because the film spends so much care and love in creating its characters. They become real people, not just symbols in a political film. The mother is played by Norma Alejandro, who shared the Best Actress Award at this year's Cannes Film Festival, and there are scenes that are really heartbreaking as she begins to suspect the truth about her baby. In one scene, she takes down the clothes her daughter was wearing the first time she ever saw her, and we don't need any dialogue, and there isn't any dialogue. We can read her mind, and we know what she's thinking, that the little girl's natural mother dressed her in those clothes. The official story is one of the year's very best foreign films.
I think you can take out the word foreign. It's one of the year's very best films, and I know it's going to be on my top 10 list of the year. I feel like I want to grab people and say, see this one. If you like Kramer versus Kramer, it sounds like a publicity machine for the movie. If you like Kramer versus Kramer, this has all the emotion of that. If you like political intrigue of All the President's Men or The Killing Field or something, it has that kind of tension going on there too. And plus at the center of it, it has a very interesting woman character. She's not a saint who rebels. This isn't Sissy Spacek or Sally Field rebelling and now I'm going to return the baby. This is a woman who knows she's guilty. Guilty by ignorance, and she could have known more, and she feels terrible. She's torn up, loves the baby. It's a fascinating character,
and it's a fascinating movie. One of the things that I liked about it was the fact that through this human story, these particular characters and their problem, whose baby is this, and if it isn't who I think it is, then what has happened to the mother, and by extension, what has happened to our society for the past 5 years. This movie was shot in secret in Argentina. They shot indoors, didn't let people know they were making the movie, took the print out of the country, went to the Cannes Film Festival. Now, amazingly, It's playing down there. There are lines around the block because, in a way, this movie dramatizes in a very small microcosm what that country went through. And so I think it's one of the great political films, even though it's not a propaganda film in any ordinary sense of the word.
It's a terrific movie.
It sure is.
Now let's review our reactions to all the films on the show. Roger really liked young Sherlock Holmes. Terrific characters. I agree, but I think they were really working on a dumb case, so a split decision from us. We both enjoyed Robert Altman's very tough film of Sam Shepard's very tough Fool for Love, a danger-filled investigation into incest. We split, you might say, on Rocky IV. I liked it a lot, but Roger unbelievably thought that the story has lost its punch.
That was absolutely right.
Stay quiet for just a few seconds. And finally, our favorite film of the bunch from Argentina, the heartbreaking, the official story. How can we agree so much on the official story?
And you could be so wrong. I want people to know. I'm going to do something you did a couple of weeks ago. This is the guy who thinks Rocky IV is better than young Sherlock Holmes. Gene Siskel, right here. Right here. That mistake.
Chicago Tribune. You can write your thank you letters right here.
To be sure to put stamps on it.
Okay, now that's it for next week. That's it for this week, and maybe next week. We'll take a look at more of the new holiday movies, including the blockbuster screen version of long-awaited hit from Broadway, A Chorus Line. Also, Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner in Jewel of the Nile, the sequel to Romancing the Stone. That's next week. And until then, we'll see you at Rocky IV and at the movies.